Hello, welcome to Have Roots Will Travel. My name is Lisa Elvin Stoltari, and I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. If this is a return visit to my channel, welcome back. And if this is your first time, just to let you know what we're doing here right now, we're doing an exploration of Les Filles du Roi, the King's Daughters, which was a program that was begun to populate New France at the time. And I'm actually doing mini biographies of all 700 of them. I'm just getting started, actually. We really, what I wanted to do with this series, it kind of grew organically. I didn't plan on this, and I really wanted to start looking at them individually, and each one tells a story. Some are brief, some are long. Some have lots of drama, some just live quiet lives, but they all contributed to the tapestry of the history that is Quebec today and also North America. So it's very, very important that we put that in historical perspective. One thing I do want to let you know is if you have a Fille du Roi that you're interested in exploring, please in the comments below, let me know. You can also write to me at Lisa at Have Roots Will Travel. I also have a website, Have Roots Will Travel. I'm on Facebook and on Twitter as well. So, and of course, you can always post the comments on each individual video as well. So with that being said, let's get started. So regular viewers of my channel know that I have a video called Les Filles du Roi, the Program 2.0. And for those of you new to the channel, please have a look at it. If you want to get more information on the program, I think it really helps kind of give you a bird's eye view of what these ladies went through. So with that being said, let's get started and see who we're profiling this week. Her name was Anne Roy. She is actually a viewer selection as well, a request. And she happens to be the great-grandmother of the now infamous boy next door to me as I grew up. This is also one of his great-grandmothers, which he probably doesn't know. He will now. So with that being said, let's get to know Anne a little bit better. So our Fille du Roi was born in 1653 in a small village called Saint-Hilaire-sous-Romilly in the region Grand Est in the department of Aube, and obviously in the country of France. Her parents were Pierre Roy and Anne Fleury. And it's a village of currently about 325 people. You can see on the picture on your left, it really is a simple farming community, has always been that, extremely old in terms of history. And the church that she would have been baptized in would have been around in the 12th century. And from what I'm able to gather, the tower is what remains from there, and they kind of built a new church around it. So just a beautiful, beautiful spot. So Anne was recruited at about the age of 17. No mention of her parents or their deaths has been found. She did have a dowry of 300 livres pounds, which probably means that her parents were deceased, but we can't be sure. She sailed on La Nouvelle France and arrived in Quebec City on July 31st, 1670. So the groom that she selects and selects her, his name is Nicolas Bouchard, and he's born in 1637 in Andely-les-Marais in La Rochelle. So his parents are Clément Bouchard and Louise Briard. I have a picture of the church that he would have probably been baptized in, and it's kind of a very quiet little town. It actually, back in the Middle Ages, Andely was a seigneurie with a castle, and Eleanor of Aquitaine actually brought this to the marriage when she married, when she married the future king of England, Henry. And this is a region that is known for wine at the time, and also wheat. So this is a very highly productive area that he comes from. So both Nicolas and his brother Michel both enlist in 1657 at La Rochelle for work in New France. By 1662, Michel marries a fille mariée. Remember, there's Fille du Roi and fille mariée. The fille mariée her her name was Marie Trottin, but for some reason, Nicolas remained single until the year 1670, when a lovely lady named Anne Roy came off that boat. Within 2 months of her arrival, they had made the decision to marry. The 1667 census finds the brothers living in Beaupré. So you can begin to see Nicolas is 30, and he has two so he already has land, but he's not married. And then we have Michel, his brother, who's down the road, if you will, with Marie, and they've already gotten 3 children. So this is nice that the brothers are together. So Anne and Nicolas were married at Sainte-Anne-de-Beaupré on September 30th, 1670. Let's see what kind of life they built for themselves. So they actually ended up settling at Sainte-Anne-de-Beaupré, and it's Sainte-Anne-de-Beaupré, just to give you a little example, a little information, is found along the St. Lawrence River, about 22 miles northeast of Quebec City. There are now about 2,800 people who live there. It is famous, and you can see on the left hand of your screen, for the Basilica of Sainte-Anne-de-Beaupré. The original church had a reputation for miracles, starting with one of the builders, Louis Guimond, who was severely crippled and walked with crutches, and upon the church's completion was able to walk without crutches. People continue to this day in the amount of 1 million people a year to visit this shrine. And they need crutches and other walking aids as they are miraculously healed. The shrine was established by fishermen in 1650. In 1657, the parish of Sainte-Anne-de-Beaupré was established, and it was also called at some point Sainte-Anne-du-Petit-Cap. So it's important to know the names, the different names. One of the very first settlers, Etienne de Sales, donated the land next to the river in 1658 to build the first church. Saint Anne is actually the patron saint of fishermen. It was rebuilt in 1661 and 1676 and many times afterwards. But by 1872, it was dedicated as the Basilica. So this is its claim to fame. This is one of those religious pilgrimages, and it is absolutely beautiful area as well. So this is where they built their family. As they built, they obviously acquired land, started selling, and then they moved to Cap Saint-Ignace, which was founded in 1672 and was born from multiple land grants from the intendant Jean Talon. 5 different seigneuries were created that eventually formed Cap Saint-Ignace. They each had their own name, and I'm going to list them just so, again, so those of you who are doing research: Vaiselon, Lillet, La Fresnaye de Saint-Joseph, and Saint-Clair. La Fresnaye, Saint-Joseph, and Saint-Clair. Nicolas and Anne purchased the 3rd concession in Vaiselon. One of the interesting things about this seigneury is that it's the first one owned by a woman, Geneviève de Chavigny. She happened to be the widow whose husband had done a great deal of work and of good things in this area. And Jean Talon rewarded her with this seigneury. Where does the name Cap Saint-Ignace comes from? A small cape forming a peninsula in the river is the origin of the name Cap. As for Saint-Ignace, we think it's based on, was given by the Jesuits in honor of their founder, Saint Ignatius. So I think that's where it comes from. I just want to point you out, this is the mill that is there. You can see an aerial view. This is one of the oldest houses in Cap Saint-Ignace, and this is actually the land that Nicolas would have purchased. So just amazing, amazing. Marie-Angélique would marry Louis Bosse, a voyageur, and would have 7 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Agnes would marry Joseph Morin de Valcourt and have 8 children, 7 of whom make it to adulthood. Elisabeth would marry Charles Fournier and have 11 children, all of whom would make it to adulthood. Pierre would marry Mary Catherine Fournier, his sister Elizabeth's husband's sister, and have 6 children, 4 of whom made it to adulthood. Ignace would marry Jeanne Roy and have 8 children, all of whom would make it. And Nicolas would marry Anne Roy and have 4 children, all of whom would make it. really, really a strong line here. We do not know when Nicolas died, but as of January 16, 1684, when his son Nicolas was born, he is listed as deceased. So he was 48 years old and was left with 6 children, ranging from 11 to a newborn. This memorial to Nicolas was put up not at Cap Saint-Ignace, but instead at the Acadian Cross Historic Shrine in Maine. So just really interesting, the Bouchard family and what they did to honor Nicolas and Michel for that matter. The new man who comes along for our heroine, Anne, is Claude Guimond. He was a native. He was born in Quebec City. He was born in 1661. And his father was Louis Guimond. You remember when we talked about Saint Anne de Beaupré and the man that was healed? That was his father. The Guimonds were pioneers in the region. He was a captain of the militia, and he had not been married before. He was actually 8 years younger than Anne. Let's see what happens to them. So they would go on to have 6 children. Marianne, the first one, would marry Jean-François Thibault, but would pass away at age 18, presumably in childbirth. Louis would marry Marie-Françoise Richard and would have one son who made it to adulthood before he passed away at age 35. François would marry Elisabeth Fortin and have 6 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. He then would marry Ursule Germain and have one child who made it to adulthood. His final marriage to Angélique Benty would not produce any children. Louise would marry Charles Jean-Baptiste Fortin and would have 5 children. Charles was the brother of François' wife, Elisabeth. Claude Joseph would pass away at 17, and their final child, Jean-Baptiste, would die in infancy. So Anne would pass away on the 1st of November, 1719, at the age of 66. She and Charles were married 34 years, which was a remarkable achievement, to be sure. Claude, because he was younger, would go on to remarry. Her name was Dorothy Fournière, and with whom he had 5 more children. Claude would eventually pass away on the 13th of February, 1738, at the age of 77. And so ends another episode of Les Filles du Roi. Anne was a remarkable girl in that she came from a very simple farming community, had some money with her, chose a husband, began to build a life, and then of course it was cut short by the loss of her first husband. She didn't give up, she continued, and that really is the remarkable statement about Les Filles du Roi. Most of them were just so incredibly strong-willed and just kept going, and they were survivors, and they figured out ways to survive. So, the fact that she was married to her second husband for 34 years is remarkable in any century. And so, with that, we end our tribute to Anne Roy. We thank her for her contribution, and I will see you on video number, I guess it'll be number 57. We will see you on the next video. Until then, au revoir.